In September 2025, a devastating incident at a Dallas motel captured national and international headlines. The case involved Chandra Nagamallaya, whose life was tragically cut short in an act of extreme violence that stunned witnesses and was documented by security cameras. Chandra Nagamallaya entered the world on December 2, 1974, in India. Before immigrating to America, he operated a hospitality business in Bangalore as an entrepreneur. Seeking expanded opportunities, Chandra relocated to the United States in 2018, where his sibling had already established a successful hotel enterprise decades prior. He made Dallas, Texas his new home alongside his wife and son, who was approximately 18 years old by 2025, having been born around 2007. In Dallas, Chandra dedicated himself to managing the Downtown Suites motel located in Old East Dallas. Those close to him knew him by the affectionate nickname Bob. Colleagues and family members consistently described Chandra as a committed family man with a gentle nature. A longtime friend characterized him as perpetually cheerful, someone who would laugh at humor directed his way and consistently sought to avoid confrontation. At his workplace, Chandra earned recognition for his diligent work ethic, welcoming personality, and calm disposition. The motel served as both his workplace and residence, where he lived with his wife and son Garv. The morning of September 10, 2025. September 10, 2025 started as an unremarkable Wednesday at the motel. Morning operations proceeded normally as staff members carried out their regular duties. Around 8 a.m., Chandra was working with two employees, a female housekeeper and Jodanis Kobos Martinez, who was assigned to clean room 108 on the ground floor. Chandra's wife was stationed at the front desk while their son remained close by on the property. The subsequent 20 to 30 minutes would transform this routine morning into a nightmare scenario. A dispute arose in room 108 concerning a malfunctioning washing machine. Chandra had given instructions to Jodanis regarding the washer's use, but communication proved challenging due to language differences. Chandra spoke English while Jodanis spoke Spanish. When Chandra requested another employee to interpret his message, Jodanis became increasingly agitated. He perceived this indirect communication as disrespectful and felt slighted by requiring translation services. According to police interviews, this communication barrier became the catalyst for what followed. The disagreement intensified as both men exchanged harsh words before Jodanis stormed away from the room in fury. However, his departure proved temporary. Jodanis returned shortly afterward, now carrying a large machete. Without warning, he launched a vicious assault on Chandra, striking him repeatedly with the blade. Despite sustaining severe injuries from the slashing attack, Chandra remained conscious and managed to escape room 108. He ran desperately across the parking lot toward the main office where his family worked, calling out for help as Jodanis pursued him with the weapon. Security footage captured Chandra's frantic flight as he attempted to reach his wife and son to warn them of the danger. A motel guest witnessed the chase, later reporting that Chandra's primary concern was alerting his family to flee to safety. Jodanis overtook Chandra near the front office entrance. Hearing the disturbance, Chandra's wife and son emerged from the building, only to witness the horrific continuation of the attack. Both family members attempted intervention, trying desperately to separate the attacker from Chandra, but Jodanis forcibly pushed them away and resumed his assault. A bystander eventually pulled the family members to safety, urging them to retreat from the dangerous situation. The attack reached unimaginable brutality. Jodanis showed no restraint as he continued striking the now unconscious Chandra with the machete. During the assault, he paused to search through Chandra's pockets, taking his mobile phone and work keycard lanyard. This brief interruption preceded an even more savage conclusion. Jodanis resumed his attack, focusing on Chandra's neck area until he had completely severed the head from the body. By approximately 8:30 a.m., Chandra had died from his injuries, his body horrifically mutilated in the parking lot. The perpetrator's actions became even more disturbing after the killing. Still holding the bloody weapon in one hand and Chandra's severed head in the other, Jodanis placed the head on the ground and kicked it twice across the parking area. Witnesses later described this action as resembling someone kicking a soccer ball. Finally, he carried the head to a nearby dumpster on the property and discarded it in the trash. This entire sequence of events occurred in broad daylight within a matter of minutes, with multiple surveillance cameras recording the incident in disturbing detail. Chandra's wife and son, along with other witnesses, were left severely traumatized by what they had observed. Multiple witnesses contacted 911 as the situation unfolded. At 8:31 a.m., just moments after the killing concluded, emergency responders arrived at the scene. Paramedics initially maintained a safe distance upon observing Jodanis still on the premises, blood-covered and armed with the machete. They followed him discreetly in their vehicle as he moved away from the scene. Dallas police units quickly converged on the area. At approximately 8:35 a.m., officers located Jodanis about 1 block from the motel and arrested him without incident. He had made no serious attempt to flee or hide, remaining near the property when apprehended. Police reported that he still possessed the blood-stained machete and Chandra's cell phone at the time of arrest. His clothing and body were extensively covered in blood, providing unmistakable evidence of his involvement. The arrest proceeded without resistance. Jodanis Kobos Martinez was born in March 1988 in Cuba. He had entered the United States illegally at some point and eventually settled in Texas. By 2025, he worked in maintenance and cleaning at the Dallas motel where Chandra served as manager. However, his employment history concealed an extensive criminal record spanning multiple states over 8 years. His arrests and charges included 2017 Florida, felony grand theft auto for allegedly stealing a Mercedes-Benz. 2017 California, attempted carjacking where he allegedly appeared naked, attempted to drag a woman from her vehicle, entered the car and assaulted her. 2018 Texas, indecency with a child charges, during which he assaulted a jailer while awaiting trial. 2023 California, charges related to a 2017 carjacking and false imprisonment incident. In August 2023, a California judge granted him probation on the false imprisonment conviction. Later in 2023, Texas authorities arrested him on a fugitive warrant and transferred him to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. Given his criminal history, an immigration judge had ordered his deportation to Cuba. However, Cuban authorities refused to accept him due to his criminal background, creating a legal impasse. Under U.S. immigration law, when a person's home country will not provide travel documents for deportation, ICE must eventually release the individual under supervised conditions. Consequently, on January 13, 2025, ICE released Jodanis from detention with supervision requirements. Despite his concerning criminal history, he had avoided permanent incarceration or removal from the country. By September 2025, he was living in Dallas and employed at the motel where the tragedy occurred. Following his arrest, officials described Jodanis as a dangerous criminal with an extensive record of violations. Crime scene investigators processed the horrific scene, recovering Chandra's remains from the parking lot and retrieving his head from the dumpster. During police interrogation, Jodanis quickly confessed to the crime when questioned by detectives. With his confession, surveillance footage, and eyewitness testimony, his responsibility for the murder was indisputable. However, investigators still sought to understand his motivation. Based on his statements and witness accounts, the motive appeared to center on his rage over the perceived communication slight, specifically, not being addressed directly and requiring translation services. There was no evidence of premeditation or personal vendetta beyond the morning's workplace dispute. The case appeared to represent an instance of sudden, uncontrolled anger escalating to lethal violence. By late morning on September 10, Dallas police formally charged Jodanis with capital murder in Chandra's death. Texas reserves capital murder charges for the most serious homicide cases, allowing prosecutors to pursue either the death penalty or life imprisonment without parole upon conviction. Jodanis was booked into Dallas County Jail with an immigration detainer placed by ICE, ensuring that even if released on bail, he would transfer to federal custody. No bail was granted in the immediate aftermath. The police investigation collected comprehensive physical evidence including blood samples, fingerprints, and surveillance footage. The video documentation captured the entire crime, including the repeated attacks leading to decapitation and the disturbing aftermath with the severed head. This footage provided prosecutors with rarely available visual evidence of such a serious crime. Within 24 hours, news of the Dallas decapitation spread internationally, though it competed for attention with other major news events of the day, including the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Jodanis appeared in court in the days following his arrest for formal reading of the capital murder charges. Legal experts noted that the case met several criteria for capital punishment, particularly because the murder occurred during another felony, robbery, as he took Chandra's phone during the attack, and due to the exceptionally cruel nature of the killing. Court-appointed defense attorneys were assigned to represent him. While specific defense strategies have not been disclosed publicly, the extreme nature of the violence suggests that competency or insanity defenses might be explored. 3 days after the murder, Chandra's family held funeral services in Texas. The loss of a beloved husband and father left the community grieving and searching for answers. In response to the family's needs, supporters launched an online fundraising campaign to assist with funeral expenses, living costs, and the son's educational future. The GoFundMe campaign quickly exceeded its initial $50,000 target, demonstrating community support for the surviving family members. Authorities have publicly committed to pursuing justice in the case. President Trump personally stated that the perpetrator would face prosecution to the full extent of the law. Given the substantial evidence including video documentation, eyewitness testimony, and confession, any future trial may focus primarily on sentencing rather than establishing guilt. Due to his immigration status, any prison sentence would be served in the United States, as deportation remains impossible unless he is somehow released from custody. The Dallas motel case represents one of the most disturbing violent crimes in the region's recent history. The fact that security cameras captured the entire incident adds to the case's shocking nature. Many observers hope for a death penalty sentence, while others speculate that the defense may attempt an insanity plea given the extreme brutality involved. Regardless of the specific legal outcome, it appears highly unlikely that Jodanis will ever be released from custody. The case serves as a tragic reminder of how quickly workplace disputes can escalate and the devastating impact of unchecked violence on families and communities. The memory of Chandra Nagamallaya, known affectionately as Bob, lives on through the testimonies of those who knew him as a dedicated family man, hardworking manager, and kind individual whose life was cut tragically short by an act of senseless violence.